It's very difficult to go just after you because it's like, wow. So I'm afraid I'm going to be a bit more trivial. And it was interesting to listen to what you're mentioning about the metaverse. And I was just wondering, and maybe it's just me, if everyone knows what the metaverse is. It's like an agreed definition. I found a very funny article the other day, it was on The Verge, I think. And they were trying to make a definition of this. It doesn't make any sense because everyone is understanding this a different way. So for the sake of the 3-minute address, I would just like to propose 2 definitions. I think they're interesting. The first one is that the metaverse is supposed to be an environment that you access via technology in order to get an experience that is real-time, that is immersive, that puts you in sync with an unlimited number of people, and where, most importantly, whatever happens, you feel presence. So that's the definition I find is quite interesting. And the second one that I prefer, in fact, is a moment in time, so it's nothing to do with technology, it's a moment in time when you would feel it makes more sense to be in the metaverse than in the physical world. And both of those are definition of the metaverse. And I found that interesting because to what you were mentioning, Roxy, is both of them needs like, okay, technological layers. So we talked about AR, we talked about VR. I read about specifically brain-machine interface in order to have more immersive experience. We talked about AI-generated content, and as it was hinted by Carlos, my background is cybersecurity. And to all these words, it's like, wow, what's going to happen there when we are going to reduce the cognitive distance between us and the interface? What's going to happen up there? I think it's good when all these technological breakthroughs are looked into to learn what worked and what did not work when we moved from pure technology to a lot, to Web 2.0, towards Web 3.0, etc. The first thing is about regulation, and I would be very curious to hear from everyone about, you know, where do you feel regulation is about this, if it's even needed, you know, if it's going to fit or not. And what is the place of the human being in the regulatory framework that is going to happen in the metaverse. So it's not like I'm calling for regulation about the metaverse. I'm not commenting about the fact there's tons of regulation already happening that is going to have an impact on everything that we're talking about, and I'm not even sure that everyone knows. There's at least 3 regulations in the European Union that are now, you know, in the pipeline, like the Digital Service Act, the Digital Market Act, the Terrorist Content Online Regulation, the regulation against child sexual abuse, and all of this is going to have an impact on any piece of technology which is, in fact, managing content that is presented to user. So whatever innovation needs to take this into consideration, because what's interesting is that they are not thought through this regulation with this discussion. I'm pretty sure I know these people quite well. They don't talk about the metaverse, and no, they don't. So interesting for this group also to have that in mind. And I would recommend to be proactive towards regulator to explain what you're doing. It's quite important. The second bit would be not to make the same mistake. It was mentioned by Alisa from Cloudflare earlier, and I like this very much. When the beginning of the internet, it was all about connectivity, going together, innovation, etc. Security was not put in place, and we see what is happening, and we see, sadly, in the context of a war, or cyber attacks are using flaws in security to disinform, to attack, to disrupt, to destroy, because it was not just not thought through. So interesting. Cyber attack? Cyber attack or battery? So having that in mind when it comes to projects that are metaverse-centric. And just to say that I'm super excited with everything that you do, because I'm a gamer, so I guess you all work a lot with video game companies that gave me the closest experience with the metaverse. It was in Resident Evil 7. I was sitting on a table, and there was this crazy family that wanted to eat me for dinner, and I can tell you I slept very, very bad. So yeah, immersion and sensitive feeling of presence. So.